Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be considering the price of iPhone 14 for the US and other regions, mainly Africa. I live in Africa and I'm going to be showing you the difference in price for the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 in my country, Uganda. So I'm going to first go to the Apple Store and show you the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So this is the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and if you see on the price for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it goes for $1,099. So $1,099, and if I'm to put that into concept in my currency, $1, if you have to check $1, if we are to check here, so $1 goes for 384.7.15. So we are going to get that. If I go to my calculator, if I'm going to count, so I get 1,000 is 1099 times 3847.15. So that means an iPhone 14 Pro Max with 128 GB will be costing me 4M, that's 4,002,028.17 Uganda shillings. So mainly that means an iPhone 14 Pro Max will be costing 4M 2,028,000 Uganda shillings, because in my country we don't have the 17. The list okay, the money we have is the starting point is 50 shillings, so we don't have the 17 and the points in my country. So that means here it will round off to the nearest, and that means 4.228 M to get an iPhone 14. So if we go back and we see the iPhone 14 Pro Max, that will be the original price you'll get it at. But on the other side, the iPhone 14 Pro Max in my country costs over 8M. As you see, it costs over 8M. So if we are to, calculate and convert this back to dollars, it goes for 8.2, 7.9. So I'm rounding it off to 8M, because if you're trying to get an iPhone 14 Pro Max or an iPhone 14 right now, you will get it in individual shops. It won't be like an official outlet. It will be an individual shop for someone. So if you have to convert that back to dollars, 8M, because it goes for 8.2, 8.3, you divide that by 3847.15. So that means this phone in my country, which is Uganda, it costs over 2,000 USD. 2,000. They are adding over 1,000 on the original price. So that's how expensive this phone is in my country. So if we remove the points and what that means, you will be able to get this phone in my country at this amount, which is quite expensive. But mainly people in my country ship phones from the UAE. So if we go to the UAE, I'm mainly going to check the Amazon page. So if I go here, I already searched for the Amazon page, and I go here, Amazon, here iPhone 14 Pro, Amazon UAE, and I search for the iPhone, as you see, the iPhone 14 Pro Max for 512. Let me consider iPhone 14 Pro Max for 128 GB. This is 14 Pro 256. I need the 14 Pro Max. Where is it? Here is the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it goes for 5949. That's not as you see the difference from the US to UAE. Still there is a difference of over, because if you convert this to my currency, it's around 5.9M, because normally 1 dirham goes for 1,000. That's like the standard 1,900 around there. So if you get it from the UAE, it will cost you 5.94 it's 5.949. That's 5M in my country, around 5M in my country. And if you're to get the 14 Pro, which is not the 14 Pro Max, it will be 4699. It's quite that's 4M in my country. So that means if I'm to get it from the UAE and I'm to convert to UAE currency, because it's normally the standard exchange rate is 1,000 for 1 dirham, and that shows still you'll be getting it on a higher price, but it's at least quite cheap, because it's 5,949, because that we times 1,000, which will be 5M. And if we get that 5M minus the original 8M, that means there will be an extra of 2M in my country. Still, it's that expensive in my country. And if we are to consider the 5M and we convert that to USD, it was 47.15. That means you're still cheated an extra 1,000 USD, 1,500, and it's a lot of money. So that shows the iPhones in the US are very, very cheap compared to the rest of the world. For example, now in my country, that means if I need an iPhone and it's at 1,000 USD, I will still have to add another 1,000 to get the iPhone in my country, and that's quite expensive. And that's why you will see mainly in other countries, mainly Africa, my country, the rate at which iPhones are bought is like small. So other brands are dominating the market, because for example Technos, Infinix, and mainly if you're to see in my country, the percentage of used iPhones is at almost 90 something percent, because people who have iPhones in my country, a larger percentage buys used UK used iPhones or refurbished iPhones, because they are way cheap. For example, right now an iPhone 13 in my country goes for 5M. If I come and I check on the official Jumia page, I come for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. As you see here, the iPhone 13 Pro Max in my country costs 5.3M, iPhone 13 Pro Max. But I use the iPhone 13 Pro Max in my country. You can get it at around 3.2 or 2.8, around there, 2.9 to 3.2M, an iPhone 13 Pro Max, or 3.5M or 4M I used or a refurbished iPhone. So still you will be getting it at a lower price compared to the new iPhone. So the used iPhones tend to get market here because they are cheap, and instead of a person spending 6M, 7M, even when on the launch of the iPhone 13 it was in 7.8M to get an iPhone 13 Pro Max, a brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max. So that's the range at which iPhones are compared to the US. That means if an iPhone 14 is at 5 something or 799, you have to double that, and it will be 1,014 something, 1,100 something. So you have to double that to get the brand new iPhone on its release date in my country. And I did calculate that without if you're to ship it, you have to put in extra costs, and that's quite inconveniencing. And in my country, if you're to ship something, it's quite hard, it's quite difficult. It's a very difficult process, since most of the residents in my country don't have even postal addresses, and that counts over to like 80 something percent people who don't have postal address, even 90 something percent, because the majority of the people don't have postal addresses. Apart from legit businesses, those do have postal addresses, and they are also small compared to the rest. So currently that's the state on which we get the iPhone 14 Pro Max in my country. As right now it's at 8M in my country. 8M, that's quite a lot of money. Anyway guys, hope this video will be able to show you how iPhones are priced in different regions. Hope in your region the iPhone is quite cheap or affordable. Let me see in the comments how much does the iPhone cost in your area. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and see you next time.